Alright, today's video is going to be on Black Widow. Let me just go ahead and get into it. So yeah, the plot, 7-9. The plot in this movie is a pretty basic plot. They kind of just went back in time and tried to fill in some of Black Widow's story, because let's be honest, she should have had a movie. If Ant-Man's getting a trilogy, why the hell is Black Widow not getting a trilogy? I don't know if I can say she's a better character as far as the overall character, but you had more in her than you had in Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd, you were only ever going to get comedies out of him. Scarlett Johansson, I feel like you could have formed a really meaningful drama, and they wasted a lot of the time that she was in the MCU, just kind of putting her in Iron Man movies and Avengers movies for sex appeal. Let's just keep it a buck. That's what they did. They barely used her character the way they should have, and now they're trying to go back and fill in holes. They did a good job of kind of adding more and more value to Black Widow as she progressed through the MCU. But again, I think it all comes from just basically neglecting her originally. Yeah, so shout out what they did with her in Infinity War and Endgame. I feel like they made her character a lot better, and then in this movie, I feel like they add a lot of context and they just kind of filled in her story. So yeah, shout out to the plot for that, I guess. Um, yeah, so dialogue. 8-1. I feel like the dialogue, specifically between Natasha and Yelena in this movie, is phenomenal. Not okay. Let me not get ahead of myself here. It's not phenomenal, but it's really good. However, the Alexei David Harbour, Red Guardian, his dialogue in this movie I could do without. He dumbs the movie down again, just kind of turns it into a dumb comedy for a bit. I feel like they really could have focused a lot more on the Natasha Yelena relationship, even though that was like the core of the movie. I feel like they could have focused on it even more, and I would have preferred that to Alexei screen time and dialogue. Yeah. So anyway, shout out Florence Pugh and Scarlett Johansson. They carried the dialogue in this movie, and I really like what they did with it. I just put the acting up there. I am gonna say something about the dialogue. Dreykov's dialogue at the end of the movie and throughout the movie is really weak. Dreykov is one of the weaker villains in the MCU, and what they did to Taskmaster in this movie. This movie, if I had a villains rating, it's in the dumps. It's very low. I just feel like they didn't do her justice with these villains. They didn't give her a meaningful one. But I mean, I get at the end of the day, it's like a rogue agent going back to help free some of her fellow sisters that were also, basically being, like experimented on and turned into weapons. I understand that they kind of had to go back and do this, but again, I feel like it's kind of a Ra's al Ghul situation in Batman Begins, where this movie doesn't have the rest of a trilogy. So if you're gonna make one Black Widow movie, but you're gonna make her one villain Dreykov, it kind of lets me down a little bit because I feel like there could have been more done. This movie feels like it would have been a good starting point for a trilogy, but she unfortunately didn't get one again. Okay, so acting. Again, shout out to Florence Pugh and Scarlett Johansson. I've already kind of spoken on this a lot. I think her name is Rachel Weisz, I think, or Wise. She plays their mom. I think she does a really good job in this movie too. Again, it's mainly just Dreykov and Alexei that bring this movie down in my mind. But yeah, so that's all I really got to say about the acting. Cinematography. This movie, it's weird. The fight scenes look good for the most part, and the scenes with like just her Black Widow and Yelena hanging out, they look okay visually. There's nothing wrong with them, but there is one scene of Yelena at the end of the movie where the green screen looks horrible. It looks bad, and that really drug this rating down. Just one horrible looking scene can really do a lot of damage to your cinematography grade for me, and that's what this scene did for this movie. Again, outside of that, it's kind of average, but that they've got some nice touches in some of the other action scenes. I really like the action scenes in this movie. I think they do a really good job with them. The prison rescue of Alexei, the original Taskmaster Black Widow fight at the beginning of the movie, and then the Black Widow Taskmaster fight at the end of the movie, I think looks really good. So yeah, the cinematography again mainly dragged down by one scene. Soundtrack, they have the amazing cover of the Nirvana song. I think it's Teen Spirit, right? It's was it Smells Like Teen Spirit or something like that. It's oh look, don't don't clown me for not knowing the name of the song, okay? Um, but yeah, anyway, the cover was great. It really set the tone of the movie. It really let you know what they were trying to do with it. Outside of that, basically no soundtrack. So, if I'm not noticing the rest of it, I'll give you credit for what you did, but I'm not gonna give you any more after that. So yeah. Let's go ahead and get into the bonus categories. The comedy, 8. Again, Florence Pugh does a lot. She's pretty much the star of this movie. It's unfortunate because Scarlett Johansson finally gets her own movie in the MCU for Black Widow. And you want to talk about stealing the thunder. Florence Pugh completely stole the thunder. And honestly, I remember when I was watching it, it kind of felt like good to see that because it's like, oh, there's a future to a character like this in the MCU, and it's in great hands, to be honest. I think Florence Pugh is one of the greater actors in the MCU right now, and she seems to be becoming a big part of it soon. So I'm really excited about that. I'm a big Florence Pugh fan in general. World building, 7-7. Again, they try to tie it into Civil War, but I gave it just a little notch up because they're like, oh, Thaddeus Ross is coming after you. And then she's on the run during the movie, so it's technically set in that Civil War era, but they barely tried. So yeah, 7-7, very weak. Characters, 8-2. Again, I've outlined what I really like about the characters in this movie. Don't really feel like I need to say it again. The action, 8-7. This is the surprise category for me when I rewatched it. This 8-7 is the same rating I gave Spider-Man Far From Home, and the action in that movie I think is like the best thing about that movie, or second best thing about that movie. So the action in this movie, I described what I liked about it earlier: the prison rescue scene, the two Taskmaster fights. I feel like they were really well done, and they showed off the character skill sets really well. I feel like more could have been done with the Black Widows as a whole, as a group, the non-attached to Yelena and Natasha. Black Widows, I feel like they made them kind of generic soldiers, and that's not what Black Widows are. They're like trained badasses. So again, I wish there would have been a little bit more emphasis on them having their own style and kind of being more of a badass. It seems like there's definitely a hierarchy to it of like Natasha and Yelena are way above them, and they're kind of down at the average level. But yeah, let's go ahead and get to the total rating here. Total rating for this movie for me is an 8. I remember when I watched it originally, I don't know if I wasn't like paying attention to it. This movie released during the pandemic, I believe, on Disney Plus, I think. And I guess I just other stuff going on. And I didn't really lock in too much for this movie, but I locked in this most recent time that I watched it, and I enjoyed my viewing of it, if I'm being honest. Again, I think there was still potential left on the table in this movie. I feel like we definitely could have done better with some better villains and removing Alexei from the movie, but again, it's an origin story almost for you. It really lets you know where she comes from. It even goes back and does a origin story and lets you know how she got to where she was. So again, this movie feels like the start of a trilogy that never existed, I guess is the way I would say it. And I generally think it's a good movie. I think it would have been a great building block, and it is just not for Black Widow. It's for Yelena. So at the end of the day, for Yelena, this movie purposes her character very well. So yeah, that's what I think about Black Widow. Let me know what you guys thought about the movie. Let me know what you guys thought about my review of the movie. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and peace.